Port Moresby, a city of 400,000 people. Since the last census in 2011, the population has grown as rapid urbanization attracts people from all over Papua New Guinea. The influx has put pressure on existing services. More people flocking into the capital city means more food is needed, better infrastructure, and certainly more water. Although PNG has abundant resources, much of the country's essential resources are poorly managed. Over 5 million people don't have access to safe water, and over 1,000 children die every year from diarrhea caused by poor sanitation. After a long dry spell that lasted nearly a year, rain has finally begun to fall on Port Moresby as well as villages along the coast. Bill Sweet is the chairman of Water PNG, the government entity responsible for bringing clean water to the country's provinces outside the National Capital District. He says there may be a way to move forward only if institutions are willing to listen.
8 to 9 kina for 200 liters and 50 toya for 20 liters.
Yeah.
Is this the only
No.
supply?
We've got about 10 of them.
10 of them. 11, huh?
11 of them.
Oh. Is it part of the rationing as well, Ediranu is doing?
Oh, well,
You know how they're
yeah,
cutting off the
yeah.
water?
Lucky 2 days ago, yesterday big rain came down and saved us from buying 2 kina from.
Yeah.
So a household has to spend 40 kinas
30 to 40 kina.
a day?
Yeah, because we had to hire trucks, hire dinghies, go to Koki or Hanubara or there. We get water from there.
Tatana, anyone?
Tatana there, yeah, we do.
Yeah, okay.
All the way to Baroni, you see some connection there.
Yes.
Our pipe been connected through illegally connection from those Ketten brothers, Atlas Steel, and those settlements there. They did some illegal connections. You know, so that's why they stem our pipe water coming through the villages.
Yeah.
It's very hard for us to, I don't know when. Now you come probably do some assisting to us, and I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean the city's definitely grown over the years, just in the sort of high-end commercial and residential buildings. But now you've got governments focusing on affordable housing. You know, they're talking about 40,000, and I think they've just released 5,000. So 5,000 domestic users within, I believe, near the Garahu area. Sort of that growth going out northwest. So it's definitely growing, and the city needs to, cater for that with the population growth. The situation with the water in Port Moresby is directly linked to the power because it's a hydro system. So power and water are fighting for the volume. I'm not a hydro engineer, but from what I understand, the levels within the dam generate the power, and the lower the level, because of Ediranu's requirement of water usage, the less power we have. So, or less power that's generated. If you're wanting more power, that means you have to have the larger volumes of water staying there and less water coming out. So that's the sort of conflict with the water and power in Port Moresby. Ediranu has a separate source, independent. Then they're free to develop that as much as they want to.
But the water-related difficulties are far from over. While the city expands towards the northwest corridor, industrial projects like the LNG plant and a future refinery will require considerable amounts of water.
You can see with Motokia setting up the new ports or harbor ports for NCD, everything's going to gravitate towards them. Shipping companies, industrialized companies that require the the movement of transport of product and things like that. So with that, and you'll see that also commercial centers will develop. Soon there's going to be a need for a supermarket out there, and then a small township starts growing, and then pretty soon these small little satellite areas merge into the larger city. Well, with the current act, Ediranu can only operate within the NCD city limits because they originally were NCD water and sewage operated from, and then branded to be Ediranu. And Water PNG, we've declared Central Province as our sort of territory, and that's our responsibility as Central Province, which just coming up now will be I think we're in the boundary now of Central versus NCD. And outside of NCD, you've got the development happening where you have the ports, you have LNG, you have Napa Napa. These are sort of outside the NCD city limits. Part of our strategy of purchasing the asset that we're going to go see at Bunu was to have a backup water system for Port Moresby, but also knowing that the growth of the city was coming out this way, especially the industrial side, with LNG and even the future Total coming out as well. So it's definitely growing out that way, and we want to be prepared for it. But we can't do it alone. We have to have Ediranu on board. We have to have Ediranu sign up for some sort of a purchase share agreement where they purchase the water that we produce, and we can have agreeable rates or amicable rates that everyone wins from, not just where Ediranu or feel that they're not in control or anything like that. So.